Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamdiri Nashtaprayi Yogatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita by Srila Goswami, Volume 3. Only he could lead them. San Francisco, India, 1967. Chapter 25th. Our master has not finished his work. So Prabhupada is in hospital. He had the heart attack and paralysis attack. And the devotees are taking care of him, chanting, taking care of him physically, massaging him, doing everything they could. As the disciples discussed their realizations, they began to clear away their doubts about why such an apparent setback had come upon their spiritual master. Srila mentioned the letter he had typed for Swamiji at the hospital. In the letter, Swamiji had said he was not afraid of Maya and could not be touched by Maya. But he had also referred to being stabbed by his Brahmananda said that Swamiji had once told him that a spiritual master may suffer for the sins of his disciples because he has to take their karma. Swamiji now had about 50 disciples, so maybe they had been the cause of his heart attack. They talked about the importance of being very strict and not committing any sins with which to burden their spiritual master. Another reason for Swamiji's illness, Kirtananda said, was that Krishna had arranged it to engage them all in intimate service to Swamiji. By serving a pure devotee, one gains the favor of Krishna. Krishna was letting them all become purified by massaging and serving Swamiji so intimately. Sasaru recalled that Swamiji had said in a letter to the devotees in San Francisco that he was supposed to have died, but their prayers had saved him. Swamiji had told Kirtananda that Krishna had heard the devotees' prayers and had granted their wishes. Krishna was allowing Swamiji to go on with his mission of spreading Krishna consciousness in the West. It wasn't on his own behalf that Swamiji wanted to live, but to continue his mission. Because that's all what Prabhupada wanted. Everyone agreed with Kirtananda that it was a form of impersonalism for them to think that because Swamiji was a pure devotee, he didn't need their loving care. They should continue to care for Swamiji even after he got better. He had put himself in their care and they had to reciprocate accordingly. Swamiji had said they were like fathers to him, so they should not allow him to play the drum long and vigorously, to sing in the park for hours, to stay up talking late at night, or to do anything that might endanger his health. Rai Ram said that Swamiji had asked him to reply to several letters from devotees on the West Coast and explained that he would probably never again be able to take on the strain of public lectures. The Sankirtan movement now rested on their shoulders. Rai Ram had explained in his letters that it was Krishna's praise that Swamiji was still with them and able to advise them when things got rough. But now they must increase their efforts to distribute Krishna consciousness to the world. The talk turned to the need for them to realize Swamiji's instructions and become strong devotees. Everyone agreed that they could do this by studying Swamiji's books more carefully and always acting according to his instructions. When they told Prabhupada about the philosophical discussions, he replied only briefly. Krishna heard all your sincere prayers and he thought, all right, let him stay and do his nonsense. So many devotees are praying on his behalf. Of course, only Prabhupada would know what Krishna heard and Krishna thought and Krishna said. Before Prabhupada's illness, the devotees had planned a big event in Tompkins Square Park for Sunday, June 4th. The Parks Department had given them the use of loudspeaker system and the stage in the band shell. Mr. Coleman, producer of the Hare Krishna record, had encouraged them to advertise and had gotten in touch with the TV stations. The devotees had begun making Hare Krishna mantra signs so that everyone, even the TV viewer, could chant. Although now unable to go, Srila Prabhupada said they should still have their festival. He would compose a special address for Kirtananda to read to the public. From his hospital bed, he dictated the short speech, an address to American youth by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. On June 4th, several hundred people gathered around the band shell in Tompkins Square Park, while the devotees played harmonium, kartals, and mridangas and chanted Hare Krishna over the PA system. Many people in the crowd chanted along, playing their own instruments and even joining the devotees on stage. Kirtananda stood before the microphone and announced that Bhaktivedanta Swami, although ill at Beth Israel Hospital, had prepared a message for everyone. Many among the Lower East Side crowd were acquainted with Bhaktivedanta Swami and his chanting of Hare Krishna. They listened as Kirtananda read. My dear young boys and girls of America, I have come to your country with great hope and a great mission. My spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramhans Parivrajkacharya Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj asked me to preach this cult of Lord Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Western world. That was a seed-giving incident. Gradually the seed fructified, and I was prepared to come to the Western world. Still, I do not know why I was so much attracted by the land of America. But from within, Krishna dictated that instead of going to Europe, I should better go to America. So you can see that I have come to your country under order of superior authority. And even after arriving here, when I perceive that some of the youngsters are being misled, confused, and frustrated, this is not the condition of your country only, but in every country. The young people are neglected, although it is they who are the flower and future hope of everyone. So I thought to myself that if I go to the American youth with my message, and they join me in this moment, then it will spread all over the world, and then all the problems of the world will be solved. How I would like to be with you in person today, but Krishna has prevented that. So please pardon me and accept my blessings in this written form. This process of Sankirtan, the singing and dancing, is so nice because from the very beginning, it places everyone on the spiritual platform. There are different platforms or levels to our existence: the body platform, the mental platform, the intellectual, and the spiritual platform. When you stand on the spiritual platform, then all the problems created by the necessities of body, mind, and intellect and ego become solved. Therefore, I appeal to you to join this moment most seriously. The process is very simple. We ask everyone to come join with us in chanting, hear something of the philosophy of life taught by Lord Krishna, take a little prasadam, foodstuff that is prepared and offered to the Lord, and peacefully, with refreshed mind, go home. That is our mission. We do have certain restrictions, practically. They are not restrictions, but something better in place of something inferior. The other day, Mr. Alan Burke questioned me on his television program, Swamiji, why do you insist on marriage? And I answered him, unless one becomes peaceful in home life, how can he make any advancement in any area of life or knowledge? Therefore, everyone should get married just to be happy and peaceful. You're all beautiful, nice, educated boys and girls. Why shouldn't you get married and live happily? If you live peacefully, regulated lives, eating nothing but Krishna prasadam, then the tissues in your brain will develop for spiritual consciousness and understanding. However, if you're not agreeable to these simple restrictions, still I request you to join the chanting with us. Everybody can do that, and that will gradually clarify everything, and all problems will be solved. And you will find a new chapter of your life. Just this week, I have received a letter from a girl in New Jersey who has had such an experience. He writes, Dear Swamiji, you do not know my do not know me by name, but I am the girl who joined your parade in Washington Square this past Saturday. When I first saw your group, I thought you were all crazy, either that or on dope of some kind. After listening and talking with some of you, I realized that it was neither of those. You people plainly believed in what you were doing, and I admired you for that much. But my curiosity drove me further, and I had to find out why. So I followed you. And as I did, the chant you sang began to take hold. The next thing I knew, I felt free of myself, and I was singing too. I didn't know where I was or where I was going, but I was too elated to care. It wasn't until we stopped that I learned where I was. By that time, I had picked up bits and pieces of what Krishna consciousness was about. One of your members asked me to visit your temple, and I followed you still further, hoping to discover just what it was that made you feel so strong about something I had never heard of. After having taken a meal with you and reading your literature, I left, but not alone. I took with me a new awareness of life. It occurred to me how futile my desires were for the material things in life were, that a new dress or big house or color television were not important. If only people would open their eyes to the endless number of pleasures God has already given us, there would be no need for looking any further. You people are truly lucky. You may have had to do without many things, but because of this, you are able to enjoy the simple God-given treasures of the world. Because of your beliefs, you are the wealthy, and I thank you for sharing a bit that wealth with me. So we invite you to please chant with us. It's such a nice thing. Come to our temple if you like, take a little prasadam and be happy. It's not very difficult. If you just chant this Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That will save you. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Nice message, Prabhupada had written. Srila Prabhupada was eager to leave the hospital. For several days he had wanted to go. They're simply sticking needles, he complained. And each day was putting his society into further debt. The devotees had rented a small seaside house in Long Branch, New Jersey, where Prabhupada could go to recuperate. Kirtananda, they decided, would be Prabhupada's cook, and Gaurasundar and his wife, Govindasi, were arriving from San Francisco to do the housekeeping and help. But the doctor wanted Prabhupada to stay for another brain wave test and more observations. One day while Brahmananda and Gargmuni were visiting Prabhupada, the doctor entered and announced that the Swami would have to go downstairs for an X-ray. No needle, Prabhupada asked. Yes, the doctor replied, it's all right. When the nurse brought in a bed on wheels, Prabhupada said he wanted Gargmuni to push it. He then sat on it cross-legged and put his hand in his bead bag, and Gargmuni, following the nurse, wheeled him out the door, down the hall, and onto the elevator. They went down to the 3rd floor and entered a room. The nurse left them alone. Gargmuni could sense Prabhupada's uneasiness. He was also nervous. It was such an unlikely place for him to be with his spiritual master. Then a different nurse entered with a needle. Time to give the Swami a little injection. No, Prabhupada shook his head. I'm sorry, Gargmuni said flatly. We're not going to do it. The nurse was exasperated but smiled. It won't hurt. Take me back, Prabhupada ordered Gargmuni. When the nurse insisted, Gargmuni acted rashly, his usual tendency, and stepped between the nurse and Srila Prabhupada. I'm ready to fight if I have to, Gargmuni thought. I won't let you do it, he said, and wheeled the bed out of the room, leaving the nurse behind. Gargmuni was lost. He was somewhere on the 3rd or 4th floor, faced with corridors and doors, and Prabhupada's room was on the 6th floor. Unsure where he was going, Gargmuni wheeled through the corridors with Prabhupada sitting cross-legged, chanting on his beats. Brahmananda arrived at the X-ray lab seconds after Gargmuni's escape. The nurse and intern complained to him about what had happened. Brahmananda. They considered this a theft. Swamiji was their property. As long as he was in the hospital, he was theirs to do whatever they pleased with. Gargmuni had stolen Swamiji away from them. Gargmuni got to the elevator. He had difficulty maneuvering the bed and in his haste bumped into the wall. He forgot what floor Swamiji was on. He only knew that he was protecting Swamiji, who wanted to be taken away. This was going on in a hospital. When Garg Muni finally reached Prabhupada's room 607, an intern was there and spoke angrily. I don't care, Garg Muni said. He doesn't want any more needles or tests. We want to leave. Brahmananda arrived, calmed his younger brother, and helped Prabhupada back into bed. Prabhupada said he wanted to leave. When the doctor came in, Prabhupada sat up and spoke decisively. Doctor, I'm all right. I can go. And he shook the doctor's hand to show him he was hale and hearty. The doctor chuckled. He said that although Swamiji was getting stronger, he would have to stay a few more days. He was by no means out of danger yet. He required careful medical surveillance. They needed to run another electroencephalogram. Srila Prabhupada still had pains around his heart, but he told the doctor his boys had a place for him to rest by the seaside. This was very good. The doctor said, but he couldn't let his patient go just yet. But Prabhupada had made up his mind. Ramananda and Garg Muni arranged for a rented car. They gathered Prabhupada's things and helped him dress. As they escorted him out of his room and the hospital staff saw that the boys were actually taking the old man away, some of the doctors and nurses tried to stop them. Brahmananda told them not to worry. Swamiji was very dear to them and they would take good care of him. He would get regular massages and plenty of rest, and they would get him whatever medicines the doctors prescribed. After a rest by the seaside, he could come back for a checkup. Brahmananda. Then the doctors became fed up. They threatened us. This man is going to die. It really scared us. They said, this man is going to die and it is going to be your fault. Even as we left, they said, this man is condemned to death. It was horrible. At 10 a.m. on June 8, they left the hospital. Prabhupada wanted to stop briefly at the temple at 26 2nd Avenue before going to the house in Long Branch. Entering the storefront, walking shakily, he came before the portraits of his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and his spiritual master's father, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. For the first time, Prabhupada's disciples saw him offer fully prostrated obeisances, as he prostrated himself before his Guru Maharaj. His disciples also paid obeisance and felt their devotion increase. When Prabhupada arrived at his cottage in Long Branch at 1 o'clock, he had Kirtananda immediately begin cooking lunch. It would be Prabhupada's first regular hot meal, rice, dal, chapati, sabji, since his stroke 9 days ago. Prabhupada went to bed but soon got up and came into the kitchen, asking, is it ready? Kirtananda made a few excuses and said he would hurry. After a few minutes, Prabhupada returned. He seemed furious. Why are you taking so long? Kirtananda moved as quickly as he could, but he couldn't make the dal boil any faster. Whatever you have, Prabhupada said, let me eat it. I don't care if it is raw. Kirtananda served lunch and Prabhupada ate with the relish of a person in good health. Kirtananda telephoned his pal, Haigreve in San Francisco. He ate like anything. It was wonderful to see. The small one-story cottage was situated in a quiet suburb, a short walk from the beach. The backyard was enclosed by trees and shrubs, and the neighborhood bloomed with fragrant roses. But the weather was often blustery and the sky grey. Prabhupada spoke of returning to India to recuperate. In Delhi, Shri Krishna Pandit had refused Prabhupada's urgent request for Ayurvedic medicine. You are in such a long place. If the medicine gives some bad reaction, then how to arrange for the good? Prabhupada had returned back asking if an Ayurvedic physician could be sent to America, but the proposal seemed impractical. It would be better for Prabhupada to go to India. He received Swami Narayan Maharaj's reply that since no Ayurvedic doctor would go to America, Swamiji should come and be treated in Calcutta. Narayan Maharaj also enclosed a letter to Prabhupada's secretary, Rai Ram. There is no need for anxiety. Always utter Harinam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Near his ears, God will do for the best. Srila Prabhupada talked of going to India not only for his health. He told Kirtananda and Gaur he wanted to start in Vrindavan an American house, a place where his American disciples could learn Vedic culture to help them preach all over the world. He also said he wanted to make some of his disciples, Kirtananda, Brahmananda, Hagriv, into sannyasis, and he would do that also in India. His real work, however, was in America. If he could just regain his health, but where was the sunshine? Govindasi had cherished the desire to serve Swamiji personally ever since she had first met him in San Francisco. She saw that he was selfless, and his love for his disciples was unlike anything she had ever known before. She didn't mention her cherished desire to anyone, even to Gaur-Sundar. But now Krishna was fulfilling her desire by allowing her and Gaur-Sundar to come to New Jersey to serve Swamiji. To the devotees in New York, having a married couple take care of Swamiji seemed the best arrangement, and Govindasi and Gaur-Sundar had been available. These were external reasons, but Govindasi understood that Krishna was fulfilling her desire. So many things Prabhupada did revolutionary, actually. Nowhere in the scripture or in the history we read a Swamiji being sannyasi being served by a lady. But this is for Prabhupada. And of course, as mentioned, it was Govindasi Mataji's heartfelt desire. She wanted to serve Prabhupada personally. And Krishna made arrangements. Serving Swamiji, Govindasi felt completely satisfied. Not that she was actually dedicating herself to Swamiji as she had always wanted. Nothing else was on her mind. Despite the problems of working with Kirtananda, who seemed to think she was less intelligent because she was a woman, and who sometimes corrected her, she was happy. Govindasi. Swamiji would sit on a little couch with a table before him, and Gaur-Sundar and Kirtananda and I would sit on the floor, and we would all eat together like a family. We would talk, and one time the subject was rice. Kirtananda said, white rice is for human beings and brown rice is for animals. So I said, I must be an animal then, because I really liked brown rice better. And Swamiji just laughed and laughed and laughed. He thought it was so funny. I guess I did sound pretty simple, but he laughed and laughed. Prabhupada was sitting in the backyard when Govindasi saw a large slug climbing on a wall. Slug is like a snail. It walks very slowly, and it just crawls and very, very slowly. She showed it to Prabhupada. Chant to the poor thing, he said, and she began to chant Hare Krishna to the slug on the wall, because it also has soul. Govindasi would take walks daily and with the neighbor's permission pick dozens of roses. On returning, she would arrange them in vases and place them all around in Prabhupada's room. One time when Prabhupada heard her loudly singing Hare Krishna as she returned from the neighborhood, he remarked to Gaur-Sundar, she is very simple-hearted. Govindasi. Swamiji talked about Krishna in such a way that Krishna was present in the room. This was so striking to me. We would talk about Krishna's activities, about how Krishna is doing this and that, and how Krishna is so wonderful and Mother Yashoda is thinking like this. He would talk and he would get into such a beautiful state that the whole room would glow golden. I would feel as if I were being transported to some other realm, and it was all very new to me. I didn't have any great understanding of what was going on, but it was all very new to me, and it was an actual transcendental experience of feeling Krishna's presence and almost glimpsing within the heart the memory of his pastimes. Swamiji playing kartal, Swamiji walking on the beach, Swamiji sitting in his room or taking a nap. Everything he did seemed wonderful to Govindasi. And everything he did or said seemed to endear him more and more to her. Devotees would travel no more than 2 at a time and only once a week from Manhattan to Long Branch to visit Swamiji. Mostly they would see him sitting on his bed, but sometimes they would walk with him on the beach. The morning sunshine, he said, would help him, but the gray skies persisted. As Prabhupada said one morning with Kirtananda and Gaurshanga, Satsvarup, Govindasi and Jadurani on a blanket spread on the sand, he noticed some boys with surfboards trying to ride the waves. They think this is bliss, playing in the water, he said. Actually, there is some bliss there, but it's not Ananda, the bliss of the spiritual world. On Krishna Loka, everything is conscious. The water is conscious, the land is conscious, and everything is blissful. Here, that is not so. Devotees looked with him at the surfers bobbing in the sea. Yes, Kirtananda said. And also here it is dangerous. At any moment, one of the surfboards could jump up and hit them on the head. Yes, Srila Prabhupada said, this is not real Ananda. Prahlad Maharaj has said that this material world is crushing him like a grinding wheel of repeated birth and death. He says that in the material life, he experiences either separation from what is beloved to him or meeting up with an obstacle he doesn't want. And in order to combat this condition, the remedy he takes is even worse than the disease. LSD is like that, a remedy worse than the disease. Except that Prabhupada's face looked thin, his appearance was the same as before his illness. He sat among them, wrapped in a grey wool chadar. They knew he must be very careful about how much he did. They would never forget, as they had forgotten before, that he was 72 years old. Perhaps never again would they be able to enjoy spending as much time as with him as before. Certainly for now, his intimate association had become a rare treasure. Sitting inches away from Prabhupada on the beach blanket, Satsvarup asked a question on behalf of the devotees in New York. Swamiji, is wearing of leather shoes permissible? No. What if someone has given us some leather shoes? Leather means violence, Prabhupada said. He pointed to Satsvarup shoes of inexpensive man-made material. Your country is very nice. By your technology, you can get these shoes easily without wearing leather. For Satsvarup and the others, the question was answered for a lifetime, and the time and place became reference, like a chapter and verse number in the scriptures. As Jadurani helped Govindasi gather flowers, the two girls talked together. Both had heard the men say that women were less intelligent, and they felt discouraged. Later, Govindasi told Prabhupada about the problem. Is it true, she asked, that because we are women, we won't make advancement as quickly as the brahmacharis? Yes, Prabhupada answered. If you think of yourselves as women, how will you make any advancement? You must see yourself as spirit soul, eternal servant of Krishna. See, very nice answer by Prabhupada. Many times this question or similar question or comments have come up. But Prabhupada's answer, if you think of yourself as women, how will you make advancement? Think of yourself as spirit soul. Srila Prabhupada gave Jadurani a photograph of himself to paint from. They had taken in India before he had come to America. It showed him grave and standing very straight against a blank white wall. Oh, Swamiji, Jadurani remarked, you look so unhappy here. No, he said thoughtfully, stretching out the sound of the word. No, that's not unhappy. That was a moment of ecstasy. Prabhupada drew Jadurani's attention to a picture on his wall. Mother Yashoda was rebuking her son, Krishna, for stealing butter, while in the distance, two of Krishna's friends were hiding behind a tree, laughing. Prabhupada asked, do you think that Krishna would let himself get caught and his friends get away? She looked at the picture again. By the light of Swamiji's words, she could see that Krishna's friends would also soon be caught. She suddenly felt she was there in Vrindavan. They both laughed. Okay, I guess we can stop here. See anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mata.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. You're safe and wonderful.